And hello to everybody. My name is Felix. For the ones who don't know me yet, I'm one of the two co-founders of Everlearn. Everlearn itself is a tech startup focused on building a lifelong learning marketplace to enable people taking their careers into their own hands and achieving their dreams. Today, we are launching a new webinar series to dive into top skills in demand. Today, starting with the topic / the skills data science and AI. We will then continue with further webinars around other top skills. Is it human, more transversal skills, blockchain, and more to come. Today, we will start with a mini keynote initiated by Nitin, then followed by pitches by selected industry experts and academies about their courses addressing exactly these skills, then rounded up by an open Q&A with questions by you. We are recording that video. I hope that's all fine to also make it available for the guys who cannot join today. If you don't want to be seen, then maybe just switch off the camera and then I hope we should be fine. So then welcome again, and I hand over to you, Nitin, for the introduction.
Thank you very much, Felix, and hello to all of you. Today, or in the next 10 minutes, let's talk a bit about data science and how to apply data science and artificial intelligence into your organization. So what I would like to talk about is actually more data science as a career rather than the application part of it. I think that would be covered quite a bit from the following speakers. So the first question, if you are a data scientist, or let's say if you are a person who's trying to get into this field and have acquired some knowledge, you need to ask yourself is, what kind of industry are you applying for, and where do they stand in terms of their data journey? An example is if you're applying to a company which is just in the very early stages and is thinking about starting with some sort of data science or artificial intelligence, then you need a different set of skills. There, the focus might much more be on reporting systems and let's say perhaps on POC development. So you might need more Python skill or R skills and some SQL. Whereas if you go into an implementer organization that's a bit more advanced, they have potentially produced 1 or 2 use cases, AI use cases or ML use cases that are showing some return on investment. They have generally a different hiring style. These organizations generally tend to need more data engineer savory people. So you need to acquire knowledge around data engineering and how to build pipelines and so on. If you're going into an advanced organization, which in my understanding, there is none right now in Switzerland. Most of them are in the beginner or in the implementer stage for the time being. Then these are the organizations that they have some sort of data pipelines in place. They have put more use cases in production, and they have more standard approaches in place for experimentation and deployment of machine learning systems. So they're the kind of people they hire generally tend to be more senior and people who cover the entire stack of data science in terms of technology, and also they know how to drive benefits from artificial intelligence, focusing a lot on the business impact and not on the tech stack. Whereas in the beginner and implementer, the focus might a bit more on the more on the tech side than on the business side, let's say. And leader organizations are very different. They look for, skills in the entire space. They have a tendency to also hire juniors and train them into senior roles. And they have more specialized roles. So there is a data scientist role, there is a data engineer role, there is a reliability engineer role, there is a machine learning engineer role in terms of technology. There is analytics translator roles. There are data product manager roles, and so on. So they are a bit more advanced. And from again, what I see, I don't see a lot of European organization at the level of Europe in the leader group. Some are now migrating from implementer to advancer stage. So be wary of that, because it's very important for you to know when you go into the interview process to ask the right questions in that space, and also to know what skills you need to target what type of organizations. when one thinks about the technology part of things, I mean, this is, let's say, the most important skills that are represented in the job market in terms of what is asked in a data science role. What I see is a lot of confusion in the market. Companies and sometimes don't know if they are looking for a data scientist or data engineer. So what they want to have is some sort of a unicorn person who covers the entire stack, if possible. The most basic skills that are expected from data scientists is Python, so one main programming language, Python or R, and SQL for being able to query the data and to be able to, work with the databases in general. These are like the minimum possible. And on the top of it, if you're specifically targeting machine learning, then you need to be able to know some experiment management and tracking frameworks like MLflow or TensorFlow and so on. If you are more in the data engineering savory side, then you need to be able to know more about data warehouses, how the information is structured, stored, relational and non-relational databases, example MongoDB and Postgres and so on. What is for last couple of years picking up quite a bit is the use of containerization method tools like Docker and Kubernetes. Here the idea is that a company usually wants to fast process the development from, let's say, a personal laptop to be able to put that same system somewhere else very easily. That requires you to wrap your code in an environment which helps you basically put everything you need for your project in one place, and you can take that place and put it somewhere else. Think about it like installing a new OS on your laptop or installing a new Windows version of your laptop. So something is present and you take it forward. Beyond that, what you also need to know is for sure Git as a version control system, because you need to be able to track your code and the changes you make to your code. You need to be able to, in some organizations, they're also implementing tools around data version control, because as you develop pipelines, the data constantly changes, and the experiments you conduct on the data, you need to be able to track them and what data are you using and where, and that all there are several tools there, and DVC is one of them. If you're in an environment where the stream data, or let's say the real-time data, is of very much importance, example, online marketing and sales channels, or let's say the area of sensor data analytics, there you need also high-speed processing systems, like Spark and Kafka, that work with such real-time systems and data sets. When you have a lot of models to manage, a lot of systems to manage, then you need more management frameworks like Airflow and Kubeflow. And quite often what you also need a knowledge of is the dashboarding tools such as Power BI and Tableau, because at most of the times your machine learning or AI system, what it generates is actually a report. And this report generally tends to be in Power BI or Tableau. So this is like the some basic tech stack which one could evolve and learn on in terms of technology. Again, what you should for sure check out is how the market is behaving generally. What we have here is that this on the left hand side, we have a very recent study from last year and from this 365 Data Science Limited, which is like an online portal to acquire data science skills. They analyzed around 1,000 LinkedIn profiles for data science related roles, and what they found out, which I believe is the truth, is that majority of the roles are still male driven. So there are too many males in the society, or in general in the data science roles. Most of the data scientists tend to have a university degree at least, and quite a few of them also have PhDs. Python and SQL still dominate in the market, and generally a data scientist spends around only 1.7 years on their roles. So this is a very bad for the companies, because data scientists come and join. And I think in one of the next talks we will have from AI Bridge as well, we will talk about how this 1.6 years, 7 years can be increased. So one part is that most data scientists realize that the work they are doing is not creating an impact, or they are hired for different types of roles. So there is a mismatch of expectations. So if you know about these facts, you can actually clear those aspects in your interview process. What you have on the right side is the survey from Kaggle, actually conducted over several thousand data scientists, which they tried to understand where the data scientists are moving to, in what type of industries, and where are they more happy. So what we see here is that in general, if the companies are big, above 10,000 employees worldwide, most of them are actually losing data scientists at faster pace. pace. That's because of the problem again with the impact aspect of the space, that most data scientists don't see their work being used or of any use to anyone. Similar is the case for medium-sized enterprises, where a lot of data scientists are leaving their jobs again. Processes are not in place, problems with the middle management or the leadership roles, not knowing what AI and data science is, and several other issues. What is certainly happening is that a lot of people are joining, there is an increase in let's say movement of data scientists into small industries between less than 250 people. The reason being is because their team sizes tend to be small, and the data scientist gets to cover the most space of development of a product and simultaneously grow in the role a bit faster. So if you are a fresh data scientists, choose these things wisely, the kind of industry you're going to, because this would impact how long you stay actually in that organization afterwards. What we also have in the next slide is actually, this is from 2019. There is this job portal called datacareer.ch. It's a job portal run in Switzerland. What these guys did, they conducted an analysis onto what kind of skills were being asked in the job market and the supply according to the CVs that were submitted to their portal. And what we have is, on the x-axis is the demand and the y-axis is the supply. So if you are, one of those data scientists that believes that, okay, learning Python and R and just some machine learning would help you get a job, you might want to rethink your choices. Because there is reasonably high supply of people with these basic skills in the market. What can really help you stand out in the market or to become a unicorn is actually adding more skills on the top. And I think that's where the platforms like Everlearn comes into play, that you can try to understand what is needed and what can I acquire in terms of knowledge. So data engineering really adds on to your skills, because that helps you not only create some basic Python scripts and machine learning models for which a lot of work can be automated, but how to build data pipelines and how to supply data into your project so that the models can be retrained constantly as needed. And similarly is the space of cloud and DevOps. There is a huge demand of people in this space and very, very, very less supply. So these are the skills that you can add on to your data science skills. Last but not least, I think what is important to know is that I've covered a lot around the technology, but technology, these are the tools that help us solve problems. And it's good to know them, because without knowing them, you cannot do your day-to-day task. But one should not get lost in the details of technology, because at the end of the day, they are there to help us doing our job better. So there we have to keep in mind, or data scientists have to keep in mind, is that you build very clear expectations around the hiring process. What are they hiring you for? Are they hiring you for creating Power BI reports and doing data analysis? Because that has a different skill set. Versus are they hiring you, let's say, as a data scientist whose job is more data cleaning, data aggregation, coming up with the business proposal, coming up with the business plan, being able to measure the impact of your work? Or are they hiring an ML engineer that has to build up the whole pipeline of a machine learning system? So be clear. Obviously, data analysis role needs the least amount of coding skills, versus ML engineer roles need the highest amount of coding skills. What I've also seen in my experience is that most of the data scientists struggle to define business impact around their work. What they quite often say, oh, I built up this pipeline. Yes, you built up this pipeline, but for what purpose? So clear that also in your interview process. Again, what are they asking you to do, and how would they quantify that process? And this comes, because you are not the only one looking for a job. They're also looking for a candidate. So don't compromise there. One thing which is very important, I mean, especially for today, is that lifelong learning. If you're a person who believes that you can acquire some skills now and have a job till you retire, till the age of 65, those good days are gone. Especially when you are switching jobs, or people are switching jobs every 1.5 years to 2 years. What's important is to constantly learn, learn the skills that can help you. Let's say if you're a person from tech side, you might want to do courses like on the business part, but if you're a person from more from the business side, you might want to learn around the tech aspect of the problem. And the most important to know is know thyself, at least from my understanding. Know what you want and where you want to be. and what do you bring to the table? Because if you're just doing it for the sake of doing it, and this is the next job, and it's, you know, I'm going to have a stable job, please don't do it. Really know that you really want to get into this space, which is very competitive, very demanding, which is constantly changing and requires constant learning and development. And beyond that, it's if you have more, you know, good questions or thoughts, I'm happy to answer, or we can get on a call at some point. That brings me to the end of the presentation. I hope I gave you a good overview of, you know, what is expected in the market and how you should judge your role and find the right place for you. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Nitin. I think this is your slide before, or the second last slide is the handover now to our experts, starting with pitches to say how to bridge tech and organization and the business from one side or the other side. And therefore, I leave the floor. I think we start with you, Gabriel, from Zürcher Academy. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I'm just going to share my screen. Right, so thanks a lot for this opportunity. We have at the Zürcher Academy 2 courses related to AI and data science. And the first one is a very business-focused course. So here the target group is people managers, C-level, or also product managers. And the goal of this one-day course is to learn what machine learning and artificial intelligence are, what technologies are used, where they can be used, and there's a strong focus on how you can use them and for what. So here we'll assess business cases together with the participants, see where AI makes sense, where it doesn't, also what the limits of artificial intelligence are, and so on. So a strong focus of understanding what is AI and machine learning, but then also how do you apply it. And another aspect of the course is to learn how to, if there is a use case or an opportunity to use machine learning, how to then implement that use case, and not just from a technology viewpoint, but also from an organizational viewpoint. What do organizations need to look like to be able to successfully implement machine learning use cases? Just a brief overview of the course so you get a feeling of what's covered. So here the course was split over 2 days, but it also exists as a one-day course, with the first day focusing on understanding AI, the limits and the possibilities, and then the second day focusing on implementing AI use cases. We have a data-driven company framework that we teach to participants to learn how to design organizations to be able to do AI, and then concretely also how to successfully operationalize AI use cases. A lot of focus in the second part is group work to actually do find and create use cases. So at the end of the course, people will walk out with prioritized, assessed, scored use cases that they can take and continue working on. This was the first course. We offer a second course that's a bit different. So this is about applications of AI in medicine. So the course is called Regulated AI. And this course is now targeted more at practitioners. This could be data scientists or software engineers or project managers, project owners, and so on. It's about how can I make sure that when I use AI as part of a medical application, for instance, as part of a medical device, what do I need to do? So here the focus is on complying with the laws and regulations and guidelines from either FDA or the European authorities to build safe and reliable AI products that can then be applied in the clinic and go to market. So this course consists of these 4 modules. Again, an introduction here focused on medical AI. So for this course, participants are expected to have some foundation of data science knowledge. And then the focus is on how can we bridge this requirements from regulations for building these products such that they are safe with all the data science processes. So how can you actually go and operationalize medical machine learning? What are good machine learning practices? How do you need validation and verification work for machine learning in a medical application, and so on. So a lot of focus is placed on properly evaluating explainability, good machine learning practices, and so on. And the course will also have a hands-on exercise at the end. You can find these courses on our website, zülke.com/academy. I've also put the links to these 2 specific courses. For the machine learning and AI from a business perspective course, you can subscribe on this website. So here you can see the dates for the next courses that are on site in Zurich, and there's also an online course planned in December. Contact me. I'm Gabriel Krummenacher. I'm the head of data science at Zülke, or Fabian Lorenz, who heads the Zülke Academy for more details. We can also offer these courses specifically tailored for you if you don't find a date that suits you on the website, or if you would want to have this course specifically tailored for your organization. Thank you very much.
Super. Thank you, Gabriel. We, of course, just one small comment to that. We offer all these courses we have here on board also over Everlearn in terms of an easy subscription/registration process. But just a comment beside on that one. So happy to hand over to Maike then.
Thanks, Felix. Then I will go on and share the screen. So, hi everyone. My name is Maike, and I'm from StackFuel. StackFuel is a Berlin-based young company, and we are specialized on data and AI trainings for companies and their employees. What does that mean? We at StackFuel, we developed our own training platform. So all our trainings are 100% online. They're self-paced, and they all have a very hands-on mentality. They're very interactive. So it's not only videos, also texts, quizzes, and programming Python tasks. In general, we offer trainings in the upskilling part, but also in the reskilling department. So it doesn't matter which career level you're at, which business unit you work for, if you're in the production team, if you're in the management team, or if you're in the back office. We have trainings for all different entrance levels into data and AI. So from data literacy, Python programming, to becoming a data scientist, we cover it all. And today, I'm going to present or specifically tell you a little bit more about our data-driven management class or training. This is one of the upskilling classes we have for managers. You basically learn the whole data toolkit for managers. It's 6 to 8 hours worth of learning, and you learn how to implement or how to design a data strategy for your team and for your company, and then how to implement it in your team, in your company, how to build up a data team, which data experts do you need on this team, and what are the requirements to work data-driven. And there's no prior knowledge necessary. We give you all the insights on data and AI and data thinking within this class or within one of our other classes, which are all available on Everlearn. So yeah, one popular example from the class is about the data, or our intro into the data-driven decision making, because in many companies, unfortunately, many of the decisions are too often made by people with the highest status or also the highest income. And we try to help companies let data drive the decisions. And that is one of our big focuses in also this course, but also our other trainings. So if this sounds interesting to you, and you or your team want to get to know more about StackFuel, then feel free to reach out to me or to Felix, and we can set up a call or a meeting.
Fantastic.
Thanks.
Thank you. Then Afke, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I will quickly share my screen, and thanks Felix for the introduction and invitation. I'll be talking about AI use case workshop series that will start in May. A little bit about me. I'm a mathematician, econometrician, director of studies at HWZ for AI management and AI operations, but also the founder of AI Bridge, focusing on helping organizations to generate value with the topic of AI, which we've also heard from Nitin before is still a difficult topic, right? How do we do that in general? By creating awareness. Offering a multiple amount of trainings and also certificate of advanced studies at HWZ and consulting projects. But now new, workshop series basically called, from AI use case ideation to C-level presentation, specifically with the focus on data scientists, so people with the background and already these Python SQL skills that we spoke about earlier. Why do we need it? Well, I've put a few quotes here. On the slide, right? Perhaps you worked on projects unclear what the business actually wants or what would make them successful, or maybe we actually managed to put something in production, but it's not working the way that it was intended, or we don't even get through this phase and we get stuck in proof of concept for non-technical reasons like culture, power reasons, what we just also heard, like who makes the decisions, etc. Me and actually a group of colleagues, there's a familiar face on the slide here, see that need. We've all of us actually have also focused on building the bridge from the business side, but we've between the business and data science, but we've now actually identified, hey, we can help also data scientists getting closer to the business, helping to ask the right questions, which is why we came up with this workshop series. It's basically 7 weeks in a row. We'll start with generating ideas. So finding potential AI use cases for your organization. So really, it's a workshop, so not a course, but really a workshop to get hands-on. In week 2, we prioritize them. We learn how to prioritize, and we do it at the same time. In week 3, we deep dive into how do we actually define our use case, obviously with the canvas, but getting specific about what's the potential return on investment, what does success mean, etc. Week 4, we go into technicalities. We'll look into, how do we plan our proof of concept? What data are we using? Where do we get it from? What models are we going to try? And what, let's say accuracy is our metric. What accuracy do we strive for? When do we stop? Also looking at how do we then prove the value of such a use case. Week 5, we deep dive a little bit more even into statistics. Really excited about, we'll talk about data bias. Like, is the data that we have representative of what we do? Maybe there are biases in there. How do we deal with that? What model assumptions are relevant for the ones that we chose in the week before? And what happens if they're violated? And then in week 6, we're actually going to look at what do we need to make this project a success, right? Because what we've seen earlier also quite often the case is that we forget the organization. We need to understand what do we need, what are the critical success factors for this project to be successful. And that's what we're going to talk about in week 6. And then basically what we have is all the information that we need to create a presentation that we can give to convince our senior management to actually do this case, to actually then make sure to get the budget and the resources available, but also the support that is so needed to actually get impact. Who should join? It's really focused on those that have experience in data science. So you should know the different type of models, but it's also for those that want to actually start creating this business impact. And I think it's a really good way to stand yourself out from others that maybe don't focus so much about them. We need both type of people, but that's basically who should join. The price, 1,900 Swiss francs. And here a little bit more details. Also, we will be on Wednesday nights from 5:30 to 8:30. And you see the different people listed who will be joining me in the different workshops and the topics for you to have a look at a later point in time. And we will actually next week on April 13th over lunchtime as well have a meetup to get more information, to get some examples, to also learn a bit already. And you can, if you want, sign up through well, the URL or the QR code on this page. And obviously you can also reach me through email. That was it from my side. Thank you, Felix.
Great, thank you, Afke. So, Ivo, you're next, please. You're still on mute.
Okay.
Yes, now I hear you. Wonderful.
Perfect. So my name is Ivo. I'm an associate professor for business analytics at the University of St. Gallen. And today I'm very proud of being invited and being able to present that small CIS program that I'm running. So it's the CIS Big Data and Artificial Intelligence for Managers. And we are one of these programs that try to build bridges from the business side to the more tech domain, as Ethan has presented. And usually our participants are coming from the organization and have somehow the task or the mission, okay, let's make us data-driven. So our team must be data-driven, our processes, our products, our organization. And they are stumbled with all the different tools, approaches, roles, and we try to orient these people so that they have some overview of what kind of building blocks are important for our organization, how do we have to set ourselves, what do we need, what are the first steps, so that these people can lead the data-driven organization or transformation of their organization. And the usual core topics that are emphasized in our course are, let's say, as Efke has presented, implementation of innovative data in AI use cases is a quite strong focus. And at the end, these guys want to be able to manage big data and AI project, because this is the thing that have been, let's say, put on the organization of them. And they want to build something like a scalable data-driven organization. And for that goal, so we're not trying to educate data scientists in our course. So we focus rather on, so the term has already been named. It has been imposed by McKinsey a couple of years ago, the analytics translator. So these guys know their business, but they don't know how to speak with the tech guys effectively. And we want to equip them with the language, with the tool sets, with the methods of doing so effectively. And in our program, so it's more or less a classical university program. We have 4 modules of 4 days, so it's 16 days in total. And before setting up that project or that program, we made a lot of ground research. Okay, what do these people from the business side need in order to excel in their job of making their organization data-driven? So the first module, so we called it Compete on Analytics and AI. So this is rather about focusing on the business rationale, so that you don't have that discussion, okay, I've built that data pipeline here. So that you rather need, okay, how can we bring in data, AI, and machine learning to our business to build something that is excelling? The second module is rather about a more technical perspective. Okay, we are going to build some kind of analytics platform with the participants, starting from the source system until to the business analytics dashboard in Tableau, so that they can understand the process and the different building blocks. Around that, we have let's say, a couple of components that are quite important for managing data strategic asset, starting from data security, privacy, the entire regulation field, so that they have some good idea, okay, what are the red flags we have to address, what is about data governance and data quality management, all the things that are related to the more, let's say, conservative data defense side. It's not so much about creating value with novel innovative use cases. It's rather covering your back so that you can distribute that into being. And the third module, it's about speaking data, big data and AI. So we're actually learning Python with these guys. We focus on the most important model types, on the outcomes, what you get, on approaches to evaluate these models so that these can effectively deal with data scientists and other experts. If these guys come back, okay, I built a nice model, I used gradient boosting and five-fold cross-validation and have a precision of 86%, so that potential analytics translators can understand that and translate that to the business okay, is that the thing that we actually need, or is this something else? And finally, we are focusing on data building, data-driven organizations. So the first 3 modules were somehow related to the different roles that meeting has mentioned. So the first module is about data strategy and data analysts. The second module is rather about data engineering, and the third one about data scientists. And the fourth module is now dealing, okay, how do I bring that different building blocks on track? How are different setups that could work for my organization? What kind of building blocks do I actually need? Who do I set up the operations part of it so that it can be brought into practice? Besides, every participant has some kind of individual data innovation project. So this could be a use case that needs to be developed from the organization. Everyone gets a coach. And so we can apply the different ideas and concepts and methods that we teach in the course to that use case so that they have some practical experience in applying that. And this is basically our program. If you're interested, please reach out. There's the link to our website. You can also find it on Everlearn. And we will have some kind of info session on April 20, where we also present the program in greater detail. You find the registration link also on our website. Okay, thank you very much for your for the interest. And yeah, if you have any questions, please reach out.
Thank you very much. So we have the last presenter today, Reno. I'll leave you the floor.
Excellent. Can you see and hear me? Excellent. Good. So my name is Dr. Reno and Joseph. I head the Retiro Center for Data Science and Artificial Intelligence. We are based out of Switzerland. As a background, I'm a data scientist. I'm an economist turned entrepreneur. I've got over 2 decades of experience in data science. I worked in financial services and health economics. And my motivation for starting the center was really my first startup, which is Luminant, which is an insurtech startup, which was trying to sell a data platform to insurers. And I realized that one of the things that was lacking, which stood in the way of adoption of data science, was the hand-holding process. Companies and industries across the world need to be handheld and in different ways. This is what all the partners are just saying right now. This led me to start the Retiro Data Science Center for Data Science and Artificial Intelligence. And the sponsors of this is a software company, which is based out of Switzerland. And we've identified the problem that digitalization worldwide will fail because the approach to data analytics and governance is quite backward. What we want to do is we want to be the end-to-end partner in effective data science implementation. And there are 3 pillars. There's education, consulting, and implementation. What I'm going to focus on in this short speech is clearly the education, because this is the foot in the door, and this is what lets people buy into the gospel of what data can do. And as you can see, we have 4 courses. These are the details of the 4 courses. They run anywhere from half a day, 1 half day to 3 half days. They touch all levels in an organization. So we have courses. The first one is for C-suites, senior management decision makers. And then obviously we have the MLOps, which are for the more the people who are more in touch with data science and do it on an everyday basis. These are some logos of some very satisfied clients who want to come to us for more because there is certainly a need for these. And these courses are offered, well, they range anywhere from 10 to 20 participants. They are offered in English and German, and the prices range from 3,500 to 33,000 Swiss francs. We are also launching 2 courses in the future. One would be an end-to-end solution which is really from data strategy up to all the way to data implementation. The second one would be very lightning fast design thinking workshops. And these are delivered by members of the ecosystem. And we have 15 plus ecosystem members with 20 plus years of average experience. The subject matter experts come from all ranges of the industries. I have an aerospace engineer, a computer vision computational chemist, biological sciences, because we understand that data science is going to be needed by different parts of the industries, really. And this is your team at Vertido. I'm based out of Basel. Sebastian, who is the CTO, is based out of Basel, and Jean-Luc and Danny are in Lucerne and Zurich. So if you have questions, you want to know more, we'll be very happy to meet you for a coffee or a phone chat. Now that we can do coffees are certainly preferable. And we're very happy to help you through this journey, which we understand is not easy, but we still need to keep at it. So thank you very much, and I look forward to your questions.
Great, thank you, Reno. So we are over with the pitches. Now, in fact, we still have some minutes left for an open Q&A. So questions to the audience, or are there questions from the audience? Either is it in relation to Nitin's pitch? Is it more generic ones? Is it very specific for courses? Please raise your hand or unmute your mic, and the floor is then yours. Please don't hesitate. The first.
Maybe we can boost them by saying, what are you interested in? Why did you decide to join this workshop, or what was your goal to join this workshop? And that can probably give you the question you want to ask. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, maybe there is a specific interest or someone who wants to talk about why specifically how to connect organizations in data science and AI was the reason to join. Please don't hesitate. Maybe we have already answered all the questions in the pitches, but just to get a sign from the audience would be lovely.
Yeah, maybe just if you can hear me. My name is Nico, and just a short comment from my side. Why I joined. I'm highly interested in the topic AI. I do not have any programming skills so far. But nevertheless, I was looking for courses where I can increase my skills or my knowledge around this topic, and that was my interest. Do I need those programming skills already to join those courses, or can I also join without to get more into the topic and apply to our company as well? And I did get the answers. Would be great to get the informations and slides also after the call. I would definitely look into it in detail and then decide which courses would best fit to my interest. So not really a question, but the reason why I joined. And I got the information. It was really interesting. Saying thanks so far.
Wonderful. That's great to hear that in that sense your question is already solved and you have the intention to pursue that path. That's wonderful to hear. Do you have someone else from the audience, please?
Yeah, maybe just one add. Maybe as a question, like, would you recommend also to do, let's say, to do a course first, really getting the basics of programming? Or is this not really needed if you want to get deeper into the topic of AI?
Who wants to answer? Perfect. Nitin maybe, or
depends on what you want to do. If you, let's say, if you want to work at the level of bridge, presented by some of the trainings, then you potentially do not need programming. What you need to understand is how the algorithms work a bit and how to translate that output into a measurable KPI or measurable information of any sort. If you have a lot of experience, let's say, in management roles, and your goal is to become a data manager, then potentially you want to cover an end-to-end stack of how to define use cases, how to define pipelines, MLOps pipelines, that was also mentioned in the Zulke, and how to lead the team and what kind of skills you should, what you need to be wary of, and in terms of there, you need to know, what kind of data platforms are there, in what scenarios, what to use and what not to use. So that's a bit different requirement. But if you believe that, no, you really want to get your hands dirty in code, and if you really want to know how the systems work and want to be able to develop subsystems, then you need to learn programming. And not basic programming, you have to have at least medium to high level knowledge in programming then.
Okay.
But maybe I can add on that. So I think programming is a huge field, and the part of Python that you need for analytics is only one small slice. So I think maybe you have to reframe your question a bit of what do you actually want to learn. If you want to be a full stack Python programmer, you might need a different data set skill set when you go for analytics. And as Ethan said, I think to get started, I think it's okay not to be able to program it, but at a certain point, you have to be able to understand how the data scientists, how the tech people on the other side think, how they work, what is the outcome of their result, and for what you need a bit of coding experience. So I think it's debatable on the road what you want to have, how much you need of it, but I think otherwise there will be some glass ceiling you won't break through if you're not able to program.
Yeah.
And I think maybe to add on that, so I agree with both Ivo and Nitin, and start with a course for managers first, and then later on you will find out if you want programming skills, knowledge, but start with the course for managers first.
Okay, thanks a lot for the answer.
I see some people are leaving. I mean, we also said we'd make 45 minutes. Is there still one question around which we could answer in such direct way as we just did?
Yes, I would be happy to ask something. My name is Dominic. Nice to be here, and thanks for the presentations. It was very interesting. I have a question to you, Gabriel, from Zülke. Not on your courses, but more on your activity. I'm highly interested in deep learning, and I believe it's extremely powerful. However, it's often said that it's limited to research institutions or large corporations, as the training is extremely expensive. So what is your experience at Zülke? Are there small and medium-sized firms that can afford it or are willing to invest in deep learning? Or are they more focusing on traditional machine learning techniques?
Thanks for the question, Dominic. No, so we do use deep learning in many projects for Swiss clients. It's not necessarily expensive. It really depends on what the use case is and what data our clients have. And then for some of these, it's very appropriate to use deep learning models. Computer vision is a good example, I guess, where I think in all our computer vision projects, we use deep learning. We profit from pre-training of these large models, so we don't have to train them from scratch. That definitely saves money. And we usually use cloud services. And it's true that that's not for free, but I think looking at the whole cost of such a project, in our cases, usually the training, actually the cost of renting GPUs is not a huge factor. But I agree that not for all problems, deep learning is a good technology.
Thank you.
Right. So, is there still one other question in the room? Otherwise, we can make a countdown and then finish it, and everybody can finally jump into the lunch. Well deserved. So I think then we're here to close it. I thank you everybody who joined. Is it Nitin for the keynote, everybody who presented their courses and their offers and the engaging discussion, and everybody who, of course, joined us from the outside world to know more. We will follow up to each and every one with the content and the video and all the presentations you have seen. So there will be, of course, a close follow-up you can do in case you want to jump into that upskilling in terms of data science and AI. So thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Felix.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.